Then we get Timothy Olyphant.
I always say Olyphant.
Olyphant. His character Pete. This one I actually like. The lady comes into his work. He's a car salesman. She lost her car keys. Wonder if he can have new ones made. He's like, that could take a couple days, but he's telepathic too. And he's like, if I find your keys, you give me a BJ. She's like, okay.
That is not what was said. That was not what was said.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
All right. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast, and we are about to preview a movie from a while ago called Dreamcatcher, a Stephen King adaptation that went to theaters. It wasn't a miniseries, so yeah, what do you remember about Dreamcatcher? Because the more I got into this, the more I realized I don't remember.
God. Okay, how much do I remember? Here's the thing. I don't remember that much of the story. I remember the vibe that it left me with, which is also why I think I've only watched it once since the first time I saw it, because it was creepy as fuck. And it made me really uncomfortable. And then I think my mind blocked it.
Theater, rental, TV?
It was TV.
On TV?
On TV.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I read the book. I did not. I've read a lot of Stephen King books, but I did not read this one. This was the first book he wrote after his accident.
Mm-hmm.
I did rent this. I do remember renting it, and I do remember I only watched it that one time. I remember liking it, but it was also one of those ones where we sat down to watch it, and this is back 20 some odd years ago. People were coming over. It was a Friday or Saturday night, that type of thing. And so I wasn't catching all of it.
Yeah.
But I do remember liking what I saw. And I know it has a stacked cast.
Yes.
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. But I do remember liking it.
I remember liking it too. And I think that's why I watched it the second time. Okay. I don't think I was paying enough attention the first time. So like I watched it the first time, it's still on TV. Both times I watched it just popped up on TV. So I watched it and I was like, oh, that was good. And like a little creepy, a little weird, but Stephen King. So I was like, cool. And then it was a couple years. And then I watched it again on TV because I was like, oh, Dreamcatcher. I remember watching this. I remember liking it. So then I watched it again. Still liked it. Still found it really unnerving and creepy. Like that, it leaves you with an unsettled feeling, or at least that's what I remember. Now, this could be a completely different situation now, as we've learned doing this podcast.
It usually is.
Yeah. So I'm like, I wonder, but I remember, like, I remember it being really good. I also remember it being something I was like, maybe I don't watch it again.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the box office. It was released on March 28th, 2003. It had a budget of $68 million. It ended at $81.2 million worldwide.
Okay.
So maybe with rentals and all that, it did okay.
Yeah.
Because we learned that it's not just the budget, it's the marketing and
all
that other stuff. So let's go to the tail of the tape for Dreamcatcher. 2003, it is considered a horror sci-fi. It's rated R and comes in at 2 hours and 11 minutes. It is a Stephen King book, so
yeah, it's hard to
and that and that was a lot of the complaints when people made Stephen King movies. People, a lot, not everybody, but a lot of people I remember preferred the TV movies. While the budget wasn't as big, at least the story, more of the story was there. Yeah. Now they just make 3-hour movies and 2 parts and
say, suck it up, Buttercup. This is it.
Taglines. Based on the book by Stephen King.
That's
all you need.
It's all you need, really.
Not much of a tagline.
Yeah.
4 friends hung a dream catcher in their cabin. It's about to catch something it cannot stop.
That is not a fucking tagline.
It's more like a synopsis.
Yeah.
Evil slips through.
A
circle of friendship, a web of mystery, a pattern of fear.
That's not bad.
Catch the nightmare.
Perfect.
That was it.
That's all that last one is all they needed.
All right, here is the synopsis for Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher tells of 4 young friends who perform a heroic act and are changed forever by the uncanny powers they gain in return. Years later, the friends, now men, are on a hunting trip in the Maine woods when they are overtaken by a blizzard in which something much more ominous moves. Challenged to stop an alien force, the friends must first prevent the slaughter of innocent civilians by a military vigilante, then overcome a threat to the bond between them. I don't remember this. I remember the woods.
I remember the woods. I think there was a cabin.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of intense conversations.
Yeah.
Between the friends.
Yes.
I don't remember the military vigilante.
No, I don't either. And there's the poster for everyone watching. It's the synopsis up there. 4 friends hung a dream catcher in their cabin, and it's about to catch something it cannot stop. Then there's a dream catcher, dark woods on the side, someone sitting in the middle of the road, and lights coming behind them. It's a creepy picture. It is. It's
very creepy because that dream catcher is not the dream catcher that you get at like the One of a Kind show or whatever. It has a skull hanging from it from some weird animal. Sorry, outdoorsy like woods animal. Anna doesn't go into the woods, so Anna doesn't know what animal that is.
Well, depending on the size of the dream catcher, it could be a squirrel.
I know of the squirrels.
Okay, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. 181 critics reviews come in at 28%.
God damn it.
Not great.
No.
Not great at all. 100,000 audience scores comes in at 35%.
God, why did I like this?
I don't know.
Actually, no, that's not true. Sometimes I don't agree with these people.
That's true. Critic consensus, an incoherent overlong creature feature.
I mean, we'll see about the incoherent part.
All right, so let's start with the fresh, and you may start.
I'm ready. Call me crude. I have to love a scene of suspense built around fallen toothpicks and a toilet monster. Rob Gonzalez, Rob's Movie Vault, original score, B-. I
don't remember those either.
I don't remember the toilet monster.
I can't wait. It's thrilling to see what a talented director can do with the humorous and horrifying imagination of literary legend Stephen King. Tyler Hanley, Palo Alto Weekly, original score 3 out of 4.
That was very nice. There are plenty of twists, turns, and surprises in this elegant and sometimes witty horror flick. Andrea Chase, Killer Movie Reviews, original score 3 out of 5. That was really nice.
Gets the tone of the book precisely right, from the brooding opening to the creature feature midsection to the save the world ending. Eugene Novikov, film blather, original score A-.
There are enough ideas in Dreamcatcher for 3 or 4 ordinary movies, but then this is no ordinary movie. It's a grand, loopy pageant of ideas, schlock horror, and subtle horror and gross out effects. Ken Hankey, Mountain Express, original score 4 out of 5.
Well, if Ken Hankey liked it.
I mean, I do enjoy Ken Hankey's thoughts.
All right, here come the rotten. Obviously, there were a lot more to choose from. I will start. Yes. There's a great cast and a great director, but ultimately the finishing product fails to live up to any potential. Felix Vasquez Jr., cinema crazed.
A mishmash of styles and genres, Dreamcatcher tries so hard to do so much that it ends up accomplishing very little. Greg Mackey, Star Democrat, original score 1.5 out of 4.
An awful, ludicrous blend of sci-fi and horror, crammed full of self-indulgent Stephen King gimmicks. Andrew Manning, Radio Free Entertainment, original score 3 out of 10. Ooh.
Andrew sounds like a hater.
Yeah.
Dreamcatcher is the kind of bad film that could only have been made by talented people. Christopher Tukey, Daily Mail, UK. That is super, super concise. I know exactly what kind of movie he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the where you're just going, how could you make it with all you people? How could this be bad? Yeah. Not since Death to Smoochie have so many talented people made such a mess of things. Richard Roper, Ebert Roper. Actually, I remember like Death to Smoochie.
Oh my God.
That's the Robin Williams run, right? And Ed Norton?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I remember liking that movie. Oh, well.
I do not remember liking that movie. This is such B-movie material. I'm surprised Roger Corman didn't direct Michael Draculich. Star Newspapers.
Okay, Roger Corman made a few good movies. Even his bad movies were fun. All right. IMDb, the voice of reason. 96,000 user ratings have it at 5.5. So a little better than Rotten Tomatoes. And for a horror movie, that's pretty standard.
Horror sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because when you start delving into sci-fi, I mean, people can really disconnect from the movie.
Yes. Who did the last one?
Was it me or you?
Go ahead.
I'll do this. It made me read. 10 out of 10. Catty Calf 2000.
Now that's they obviously went and read the book, but I when I saw that, I almost thought it was a complaint. I thought I hit like the 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
One of the best King movies. 9 out of 10. Work 15.
Not a masterpiece, but enjoyable. 8 out of 10. Desh.
Wow. Now that's a crazy movie. 7 out of 10. Zagabri.
An authentic salad of science fiction and horror genres. 6 out of 10. Claudio Carvalho.
Promising first act, then falls flat. 5 out of 10. KM Berger.
At least the poster looks good. 4 out of 10. Aaron Yovel.
Yeah. Mostly sucked. 3 out of 10. Lavode.
King ruined the movie by writing the book. 2 out of 10. Josh Gerlach.
That was a good one. After years of searching, I finally found it. The worst movie ever made. 1 out of 10. Lennon 97.
Lennon 97. I feel like you're overreaching with that just a little bit.
I hope so. Okay, so box office, tail of the tape, all the reviews. Let's take a look at the trailer and then make a prediction. Yeah, let's take a look.
I'm ready.
Here's the Duddits. Our Dreamcatcher. Wish he was here.
A circle of friendship.
To the Duds. To Douglas Cavell. To Duddits.
A web of mystery.
Jonesy?
Yeah, Beef?
You be careful.
Be careful of what?
A pattern of fear.
And where are they all going?
It's not where they're going that worries me. It's what are they running away from?
Form the design of an alien invasion.
I've quarantined the entire area. Nothing leaves alive.
I'll tell you what you should be worried about. A hitchhiker. That's been our greatest fear. Somebody who could pass for one of us.
You're not Jonesy.
These are Americans. The idea of slaughtering Americans just turns my stomach.
can't see this.
On March 21st, evil slips through.
What do you want?
Come with me, Owen. I'll show you things you wish you'd never seen.
Now, for those that are just listening, that doesn't help at all.
No, not even a little bit.
It does look cool. I mean, talk about a stacked cast. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Also, so many of the actors look so young.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
Timmy
"Damn."
Olyphant, Tom Sizemore, Morgan Freeman, Jason Lee,
They're like
Thomas
Jason Lee.
Jane.
Yeah, so young. I'm excited though.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm really.
excited.
I do not remember. It's the last time I saw that was around when it came out. When it came out in Blockbuster.
Yeah, it's probably been
while.
maybe 15 years for me. So not quite 20, but yeah, I don't remember it being like the trailer makes it seem very action packed.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. So I mean, I think it'll be very interesting to watch again, and I think I will like it. But I also really like sci-fi,
Yes.
so
Same.
that probably leans me more towards the liking it than not.
No, I think I'm gonna like it. It looks cool.
Yeah,
Doesn't give you a whole lot. I don't remember a whole lot, so here's hoping.
I remember it being more thriller, like more like suspenseful,
Yeah, then
and not
action.
necessarily action. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
Well, we like the Whiteout trailer. It
Yeah,
looked
true.
action
Valid.
packed,
Valid.
and it was not. Okay, well, we are gonna go watch Dreamcatcher, and when we come back, we are gonna review it.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
All right. Weren't those monsters coming out of the bum's gross, kids?
Now I remember why this movie made me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah, aliens coming out of the butthole. Scary stuff.
Yep, blocked all of that out. I definitely watched this.
All right, so you watched 2003's Dreamcatcher?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, what are your initial thoughts?
I liked it, but now I see why I haven't watched it in like 20 years.
You liked it? Really?
Here's why I liked it. I looked at it as a sci-fi movie made by Lifetime, the network. That's why I liked it, because I was like, this feels very melodramatic, and like they're trying to pack a lot of stuff into 2 hours, over 2 hours, which should feel like a lot of time, but they keep throwing things at you and giving you more information.
Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman was just wonderfully melodramatic in this.
Oh my God.
It was amazing. So like, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a hardship to watch it. Do I want to watch it again? Probably not.
Did you buy it?
No,
Because it was just as cheap as white. Yeah, it was just cheap.
So I was like, do
Like-
I? And then I was like, white out. No, we're gonna rent.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
I rented. So I was like, $4.99, worth it. Like it was worth the $4.99. But I was like, thank God I didn't buy this. And it's not just gonna live in my library for the rest of my life. Or
Okay.
until Prime removes it. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So my initial thoughts is, how can you have that many talented actors? All of them. That talented of a director. Like he did The Big Chill, Silverado. I Love You to Death. Me and my friend went and saw that at a theater because we wanted to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it was like the second week it was out and it was sold out. But we were dropped off by our parents and they weren't coming back for like 2 hours.
True.
And it was either that or I think Pretty Woman.
Oh, you didn't want to watch Pretty Woman?
No. And we had no idea about I Love You to Death, but Kevin Kline, Tracy Ullman, River Phoenix, Keanu Reeves, William Hurt, and what's that annoying voiced woman from SNL? She's actually quite funny. Victoria Jackson.
That's it.
And it bombed, but what a great movie. Anyways, this director, Lawrence Kasdan, he wrote the screenplay for this, but he also wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, like the best Star Wars. He wrote The Bodyguard, Wyatt Earp, and it's based on a book by arguably the most entertaining writer of all time. And this is what you came up with? What the
Hold on. You think Stephen King is the most entertaining writer of all time?
I'm a pretty big Stephen King fan. Yeah,
I enjoy Stephen King, but let's not go too far there. The second half of his books, every book I've read, the first half is literally just setting the scene and giving you all the background, and then all of a sudden he's like, and now here's the story, pa 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 pa, for the second half of the book.
Yeah,
I feel like they kind of took that part, the pa pa pa, and they were like, and we're just going to give you little nibbits of the past story through it. So I think for what the source material was and the time limit that he had, Lawrence did all right.
Okay.
We disagree. This is going to be fun.
Yes. So when I'm going through whatchamacallit, if I'm making some, because I'm reading it and I'm not seeing you, just say, excuse me, and then I'll let you. Because if I'm shitting on this thing, if you disagree, so we deserve a rebuttal.
Oh, I'll cut in. Don't worry.
Okay. I did not like this movie at all.
I know.
Yeah. And just based on the cast alone, I really did try to like this movie because it does have a great cast.
No, it has a very, very stacked cast, and they did what they could with what they were given.
I forgot Donnie Wahlberg was in this until I was looking up the director.
This is the second time Donnie Wahlberg has done this to me. First, it was The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
And then it was this movie.
Where he was Duddits.
I made a note. I was like, who the fuck is playing adult Duddits? Because he looks familiar.
The most stereotypical mentally handicapped character I have ever seen.
That was terrible.
He was right up there with
absolutely terrible.
Handicap Man from Living Color, Damon Wayans. Remember that? Never underestimate the power of the handicap.
Oh God, and Living Color was so funny. It's so offensive.
If I did this or wrote this, you fuckers would try to cancel me. Cancel me from what? I have no idea, but this podcast. Oh.
Yeah, no, he did it again because I was reading the credits when it started rolling, and I was like, Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah,
he did that to me again because
I totally forgot it was him
when I watched The Sixth Sense.
Didn't look like him.
It was the exact same thing. Well, no, because I'm used to like New Kids on the Block, Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah, or even like his what's that cop show he was in or is in?
He is in Blue Bloods.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah,
he looks very, very different. Whether it's NKOTB Donnie or it's Blue Bloods Donnie, but weirdly Duddits and his character from Sixth Sense look very similar.
Yeah, and I didn't read this book. I thought I did. I have not. I found it because when I was looking at it, it is one of the least liked books. And even Stephen King has now said he does not like this book. He wrote it after his accident, and he said he was heavily under the influence of Oxycontin.
And you can tell. You can tell. Just from this movie, you could be like, honestly, it does feel like someone was on drugs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I checked out 4 or 5 lists, and it was either the bottom book, the very last, or the second, third last.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of books of his I have not read because he's done like 70 some odd of them.
He is a very prolific writer.
Yeah.
But I've read some of his stuff, like the kind of shorter. I've read some of his novellas, and then I've read Under the Dome. And I have Bag of Bones.
That was a good book. I have Bag of Bones too. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read it yet either. It's been on my shelf for literally 20 years. And I'm like, I'm going to read you. You're just so thick.
Yeah, it's a big one. Oh, a lot
Yeah.
of them are.
But that's how it is. Well, same thing. My niece was reading The Shining, and she was like, it's a big book to carry around, so it's taken me forever to read. And I was like,
get the Audible.
Girl, I know. No,
I have not listened to I have not used Audible yet. I'm thinking about doing it. I'm just like on the treadmill or whatever, or doing shit outside. I'd like to see how if it works for my brain.
See, my problem is if I listen to something while I'm doing something else, I block out what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
That's my problem, because I start focusing on whatever I'm doing, and then I'm going to miss like half the book.
Yeah. And there were some good ideas here. Like for me, there was something here. I just thought it was executed horribly.
Oh yeah. No, let's be super clear. Like, there are fundamental issues with this movie. I just didn't hate it. I didn't feel like it was, terrible to watch. I liked it because I was like, this is ridiculous, but it's fun and so random.
Okay. So Wikipedia doesn't really follow the movie very well.
It's okay, nobody else did either.
No, it basically starts off in the cabin. So before that, we get Thomas Jane. Henry is a psychiatrist, and he's with a patient who is not skinny.
You can say he's fat. It's
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say health challenged. Yeah, he's a fatty. But as this guy is talking about how Carlsberger Jr. can never live up to Carlsberger, Henry's writing on his pad like he's fat, fatty 2x4, might not get through my office door. And it is apparent by reading his mind, the guy feels responsible for his mother's dying. And this is why this guy is overeating. Henry's now saying all this, and this guy is like, how the fuck do you know all this?
Yeah.
I won't say a clever way, but it is a way to show the audience Henry is telepathic.
Yes.
The guy
I did enjoy that.
Breaks the couch. I get it. He likes cake and he storms off.
The couch thing, I think, went a step too far, because you can hear it creaking as he's going on and on about how Carl Jr. had so much to live up to, because he's always Carl Jr. and Carl was his dad. And like, does he? And I'm like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But then he goes on about how he ate a box of waffles. And I was like, okay, I know we're talking about binge eating, but I'm like, this is super weird. Also, this is a really shitty therapy session, because really we're not talking about anything. But anyways, I thought the breaking, like, as soon as I heard the creaking, I was like, fuck, they're gonna break the couch.
Yeah. Well, it looked like an antique.
It was very nice, though. It was a really nice couch.
Yeah, it did look like a nice couch. Henry goes to his desk, gets a gun out, points it at his head. The phone rings. I would have been happier in the long run if the phone startled him and he shot himself in the head. Movie over. But Henry is like, Jonesy. And another nod to him being telepathic. It is Jonesy, Damian Lewis. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I've been thinking about Duddits. We should go see him. And Henry's like, okay, I guess I have a reason not to shoot myself. The whole conversation feels it really felt very forced, phony-ish. It wasn't a very good.
See, I read it as something different. I read it as like friends who can't really, who have a lot to say, but don't know how to say it. Like, that's why it was so stunted, and that's why it was, because we've all had that conversation with people that you've known for a really long time, and then you're like, so how's it going? It's going okay. How you doing? I'm doing all right. So how's work? Work's good. We should go golfing. Yeah, we should. And then nobody ever goes golfing.
I was sitting on the couch going, oh no. Then we get Jonesy, who is a professor, in a roundabout way telling the student he knows he cheated. But Jonesy sees his sneakers and is like, those are some shitty ass sneakers. He must be poor. Yeah. And he's like, you were sick that day. In fact, you didn't even take the test. And he's ripping the test up. And the student's like, how'd you know? And he's like, just sometimes I know. I'm like, oh, God. Then we get Timothy Olyphant.
I always say Olyphant.
Olyphant. His character, Pete. This one I actually like. The lady comes into his work. He's a car salesman. She lost her car keys. Wonder if he can have new ones made. He's like, that could take a couple days. But he's telepathic too. And he's like, if I find your keys, you give me a BJ. She's like, okay.
That is not what was said. That was not what was said. He's like, if I find your car keys.
I was
Let
like,
me take
finally,
you
it's
out to
getting
dinner.
better.
And she was all like, okay. Because at this point, he had already freaked her out with his telepathic abilities. Because he was like, and then you bought this, and then you bought this. Oh, yeah, and you bought a candy bar. You didn't tell us about that.
Do you remember that candy bar?
Yes.
The almond Mars bar. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I haven't seen. Do they even still make them?
No, they
No.
do not.
I remember liking them. Well, that's a chocolate bar.
I don't like Mars bars in general, but give me an almond joy. I'm thrilled.
He starts wagging his finger and he's like, don't worry, this helps me think. And she's looking at him like, this guy is from the loony bin.
This guy's going to find my car keys. Then he's going to stuff me in my trunk and drive away with me.
Yeah. And wear my skin later.
Yep.
Yeah. Then they go outside and he's like, how about if I find your keys? We go out for dinner. And she says like, oh, okay. Then he puts his head right into the gutter and pulls out the keys. And
yeah, which was odd.
Yeah. He's like, okay, remember 6 o'clock. And she's like, yeah, and drives off. And he knows she ain't gonna.
He knows.
No. I would have went to dinner with her. I would have so many questions.
Oh, 100%.
How did you know what I ate? And yeah.
Also, one of the things I realized, Timothy Olyphant has gotten more attractive as he's gotten older.
Yeah, he's aging up.
He's cute, but I'm like, but now, sir.
He's a pretty hot dude.
He's so hot.
And then we get Jason Lee, Beaver. He has the shittiest power of all. He's in a bar, calls Jonesy and like, be careful, Jonesy. And Jonesy's like, of what? And Beaver's like, I don't know. And Jonesy's like, real good help, Beaver. You fucking useless meathead. And then that night, Jonesy is leaving. Here's someone. He says to a guy, like, what'd you say? He says, I didn't say nothing. Then Jonesy looks across the street and he's like, hey, what are you doing here? Walks across the street and gets smoked by a car.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
That hit was
that looked good. It did look good. It looked painful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh God, so painful. You can see him bend. And then when he's on the ground after he's been hit by the car,
just kind of like
his lower body is bent in a way
that
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, you're gonna feel that tomorrow.
Oh yeah. It was, and then his little student comes in and you see the shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, nice continuity. I like that.
He finally, because he ends up in the ambulance and they're like, he's gone. And the little handicapped kid shows up and he's like, watch out for the gays.
You know,
I'm like, whoa, mentally handicapped kid's a little homophobic.
You can call him by his name. It's Duddits.
It's that. Well, we didn't know that at this point. I'm just following the script because I'm guessing Duddits was older like them. So I'm like,
he sees a kid who we don't know who it is, and then he's like, beware Mr. Gay.
Yeah, Mr.
You're all
like
interesting choice of words. Mind you, I didn't really catch it the first time, and I was like, I feel like you should enunciate more because that was hard to understand.
But this leads to the first of many complaints I have about this movie. So now my brain is like, oh, okay, Duddits is dead because this kid obviously didn't grow up because he's a little kid appearing to him. And when they were like, let's go visit Duddits, they were kind of meaning, let's go visit his grave. That's what I automatically put in my head. Like, I got that this was Duddits saying, beware of the gays. And I'm like,
He's not saying that. Also, you're coming in a little hot on the mic.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
No worries.
There we go.
It's just when you get really worked up, you start coming in hot.
All right. I thought they meant they were going to see his grave because if Duddits was alive, he would appear as himself. I don't know. Maybe pick up a phone and explain some shit.
That was not what I interpreted, but
no. Okay.
No, I just figured he was having a vision of a kid. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It was just like, okay, done.
Now
well, hold on.
Go ahead.
They've all established that they're telepathic or they have these mental powers.
Yeah.
So I just figured it was a part of that. Like it was a message being sent or they were picking up on something, and something, mind you, I'm into the woo-woo stuff. So this, I was like, well, of course he's going to see a child warning him about something as he's dying. It's what happens.
Yeah. Now, 6 months later, we go to Wikipedia. Jonesy, Beaver, Pete, and Henry are 4 friends on an annual hunting trip in Maine. As children, they all acquired telepathic powers, which they called the Line. I don't remember that. After saving a boy with disabilities named Douglas Duddits Cavell. from bullies and befriending him. One night, Jonesy sees Duddits beckoning him to cross the street. As he does so, Jonesy is hit by a car. Yeah, this is another thing. I'd be like, Duddits, you had me hit by a car. You couldn't just call me and say, watch out for the gays. You had to get me hit by a car and then tell me?
There's a reason for it all. And Jonesy
I know he had to die twice.
I know, but Jonesy was looking for that reason because he was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Try to get me killed. I wonder why.
I'm sure in Stephen King's Oxycontin mind it did.
Oh,
It made total sense. Could you imagine if you took Oxy, this movie takes on a whole other meaning? I'm sure it does. I'm sure if you get hooked on Oxy and take a bunch of it, every movie takes on a new meaning.
Yeah.
But they, yeah.
Everything
you're-
takes on a new meaning.
But like you're actually getting Dreamcatcher because you're high on Oxy. Don't do Oxy, kids. His injuries heal with a mysterious speed, and 6 months later, he is able to make it for the group's annual trip. Okay, and that now Wikipedia jumps to the rescue of Farts McNasty coming up here. I did like the cabin and them sitting around talking.
Yeah,
to a point. I found the whole dialogue. How can I put this? Shitty.
Way to choose your words.
It's not the author's fault. More often than not, sometimes dialogue plays out fine in your head while you read it. And then when you transfer that dialogue to film or TV, that's why you have a writer turn the book into a screenplay. But we did have this.
Yeah, I think they were going for, just a bunch of old friends hanging out.
Yeah.
Regular banter, like that kind of thing. But it did fall flat.
Yeah. Like I was even like Beaver, Jason Lee's character that fucked me on a stick or whatever his little catchphrases, they were not. And I love Jason Lee.
Yes, we all do.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, this was hard.
Yeah, no, it fell flat. And also I don't know, maybe it's just because, you see a lot of people that you like friendships from childhood.
Yeah.
Going through the ages until you're in your, 30s. It almost feels stunted, but these guys are so like connected that it's almost an uncomfortable friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it where I'm like, why do you guys still hang out if this is what your conversations are like?
Jonesy rescues a man lost in the forest named Rick McCarthy. He is very ill, so Jonesy and Beaver let him rest and recover inside their cabin. Okay, they skip over this whole part too. So this guy shows up out of the forest. He was lost. Jonesy takes him to the cabin.
Yep.
And it was all, Jonesy was overly nice. Like this whole group talks like they're on an episode of some kids show from the 50s. Like Jonesy is laying it on thick. I'd be like,
just a good person.
I'm like, this guy's gonna molest me. Beaver shows up. Jonesy is like, found this nice man wandering the woods, so I brought him here. And Beaver's like, well, hello, friend. Oh, the guy's like, sure is nice. Hope it's okay. Beaver's like, of course it's okay. How else are we gonna molest you? And they're like, you want some soup? And yeah, and then they're like,
because the guy's been wandering around the forest for 2 days, and he told Jonesy this, and Jonesy's like, okay. Weird, let me get you something to drink, because 2 days in the forest in the winter in Maine, that could get you killed.
Yes. But then they're like, why don't you go lay down in our bed?
Yeah, he goes to lay him down.
Yeah.
And
I'd be like, that's where you're gonna molest me. I don't want to lay down in your bed. So he lays down.
Hold on, before he lays down on the bed, he's also let out a bunch of really smelly, very long burps and farts that are just stinking up the entire place. And when he first walked in, his chest was very inflated, and then his stomach was very inflated. So it was very much this man, and he's sweating like a whore in church. And it's just, you know what? It's one of those things where you're just sitting there going, sir, you are not well.
Yeah.
Go lay down. Although I love how nobody tried to get help.
No. While they were waiting for the others to come back with the truck.
Yeah, but there's a snowmobile.
Oh, yeah, there was a snowmobile.
There was a snowmobile. And when I realized that later, I was like, why did nobody take the snowmobile to go get help for the stinky man?
Yeah. Suddenly, all the forest animals, predator and prey both, run past their cabin in the same direction, followed by military helicopters that announce the area is now quarantined. This was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Seeing all the animals running and whatnot. Jonesy and Beaver return to the cabin to find a trail of blood from the bedroom to the bathroom where Rick sits dead, covered in blood. Actually, Rick said he was fine. He was like, can a guy take a shit in private?
Pretty much. He was like, nobody should see what I'm doing in here.
Yeah.
And they were like, why are you bleeding? And he's like, I'm not bleeding. And I think that's the last thing he says at all. And then they go into the room and, oh God.
Yeah. 3-foot long worm-like creature. God damn it.
Writhes.
That's it. Thank you.
No problem.
I knew the word. And screams in the toilet. Beaver sits atop the toilet lid to trap the creature, but the creature breaks out and kills him.
Okay, we got to stop though because we have to talk about what happens to Rick.
Wikipedia. How nice of you to skip over. Okay. Beaver sits on the toilet to trap the butt weasel.
Yes, but before that, Rick, when they get into the bathroom, Rick is still sitting on the toilet. But he did.
Oh, yeah. And then he falls over, and then you see the big hole in his ass.
Yeah, he falls over. The bathroom is also covered in this weird blood red goopy thing. And I'm like, that looks like a lot of insides on the outside.
Yeah.
So anyways, they go and try to wake Rick up or see what's happening. Rick falls over into the bathtub. We get a full ass shot where we see where the weird butt thing came.
Yes. Yeah.
The worm weasel alien thing came. I was like, oh God. I had blocked out all of that.
Oh yeah, I didn't remember any of it. No.
Didn't remember any of it. I was like, oh no, I was not ready for that. So they realize it's in the toilet. Beaver sits on the toilet to keep the lid down. And then Jonesy says, that's good.
They argue about who's going to go get the tape.
Yeah, but before that, he was like, yeah, the only place it has to go is to the septic system. And then Beaver, like a genius, flushes.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's done. I'm a genius. He takes out his little toothpicks. And then the weasel thing is still in the toilet. So it like bumps him up and he drops his toothpicks.
Yeah.
After Jonesy goes to get the fucking tape to tape it down.
Yes.
And then that's when.
Yeah, because Beaver likes his toothpicks. We've seen it through the movie. Beaver likes his wood.
I never even thought of that.
Been waiting forever to let that one out.
Wood.
But as he's going for a toothpick, the ass muncher in the toilet tries to get out, and they go everywhere.
Yeah.
One or two is on a tile that is not covered in blood. First, I would argue it is still on a tile on the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
With
100%.
a man who just shit buckets of blood and other stuff, then had a bum monster exit his rectum.
I would not be eating or putting anything from that bathroom into my mouth at any time.
That's gross.
No, not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
Second, he reached for this toothpick a bunch of times, and the ass rascal almost got out every time. Would you continue trying to get a toothpick?
No.
Like maybe if it was a cigarette, I'd get it.
No.
But
even then, no.
So when he fell and the bum biter got him, it had to be Beaver's like 8th attempt. I'm like, Beaver, you deserve to die. You're an idiot.
A little bit.
Jesus Christ, dude. Jonesy comes back. Beaver is like, run, Jonesy, run, because he's fighting this thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come back from the garage. Poor Beaver would have heard me start the snowmobile and heard me just leaving.
Oh God. Yes, I agree. He would have heard you leaving.
Yeah.
However, Jonesy was just as useful because he stood in the doorway and did nothing.
No. And this was kind of a cool scene because when it bit at him, it took all 4 fingers.
Yes. Which was, I was like, oh God.
Beaver did get one of those toilet brushes and blocked the next attempt, but Beaver didn't make it.
The thing just chewed it up and then bit off his face. So
why Jonesy just stood there and watched?
Yeah, and just stared.
Jonesy tries to escape, but is confronted by a large alien called Mr. Gray. Not gay, Mr. Gray.
Mr.
Who
Gray.
possesses Jones's body?
That was very jarring. And all of a sudden he becomes like a red mist.
Yeah.
And then encircles him and then goes inside of him. And then Jonesy becomes super weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Nearby, Henry and Pete crashed their SUV to avoid running over a frostbitten woman from Rick's original hunting party. Okay, first, my brain would have been, bitch is already dead, and I would have run right through her.
Of course you would have.
They crash, and that whole laughing about it, it all just seemed kind of out of place a bit. Like they were laughing, and they're like, oh yeah, we almost hit someone.
Well, haven't you ever heard of the delirium that like kicks in after you've been in a traumatic experience?
Yeah. And I did like Peter being like, I'm going to kick her ass if she's alive. Because she almost killed us. Henry walks for help while Pete stays with the woman. She dies and also excretes a worm. Okay, before Henry left, he did say, Pete, do not go back for beer. Pete did.
Yeah,
I would have too. The fire was huge. So he gets back, starts drinking. But didn't he have like 5 or 6 beers around him?
He had a lot of beers because there was a passage of time.
Yeah.
He sat there talking to the dead woman that he did not realize was dead, while the buttworm was making its way through the snow around the campfire. So he's just sitting there power drinking his beers and just waxing poetic to a body.
And then the buttworm attacks him. This was, I did like, this was a good scene.
Yeah.
The fight between Ass Wormington and Pete.
Tried to bite his dick off.
That was awesome.
I was like, did the worm get it? Did it get?
Well, he was checking to make sure it was still there. Mr. Gray tricks and kidnaps Pete, but Jonesy telepathically warns Henry to stay hidden. So Jonesy is possessed. Henry hears the snowmobile coming, but he gets the telepathic message to hide. Yeah. Couldn't give a shout out to old Pete. Pete gets kidnapped. Henry returns to the cabin to find Beaver dead and the worm that killed him laying a group of eggs. To kill all the alien larvae, he sets fire to the cabin, and he almost drops all the matches.
Yes, he managed to hold on to one.
Which, in hindsight, he could have just quickly picked one up. They made this big dramatic scene of spilling matches. Oh no, he might have to bend over and pick it up.
And then him trying to light it multiple times on his thumbnail.
Yeah.
It's like, just pick up the goddamn box.
Yeah. And also, do these things hatch in your ass like eggs, or how do they get there? Like, it's very confusing on how these aliens work. Because this alien's laying eggs and giving birth to the little aliens.
Yeah.
But why do they have to be ingested in a human? And I don't know if the book covered more of it.
Well, because when they come out, I think the little ones, after they're hatched, go into the human body.
Oh, okay.
And then they come out monster-sized.
Okay.
Because the monster-sized ones are the ones that are shooting out of everybody's ass.
Yes. Okay.
You know, when you talk about this movie, you realize just how ridiculous it is.
Oh, my God. Meanwhile, an elite military unit specializing in extraterrestrials, led by the unhinged Colonel Abram Curtis, seeks to contain everyone exposed to the aliens. Colonel Curtis is planning to retire after this operation and will pass command along with a pearl-handed stainless steel .45 pistol from the Duke, right?
Yes, John Wayne. I had to rewind that because I was like, did he just say John Wayne?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he did.
Going to pass it on to Captain Owen Underhill, his trusted friend and second in command. I was excited about the military element at first, but this was stupid. All the hey buckos and what do you think, bucko? And I'm like, will you fucking stop saying bucko? Getting annoying.
Fucking cliche.
Oh my God.
Oh, so fucking cliche. And so just like comical. I was like, what? Who told Morgan Freeman to do this? This is ridiculous. But that was actually something that I was like, this adds a layer of ridiculousness to this movie. Yeah. We already have buttworms. We already have telepathic abilities. We have random children named Duddits running around warning people and saying things to people. I'm like, this movie is unhinged. Let's just keep going for the ride because now we have Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, and his giant eyebrows.
And the gun from
John Wayne.
What?
Like, I would think the man who wrote two of my favorite movies of all time, like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back, would realize not everything in the book translates to screen.
He's trying to tell the whole story, and he's like, this will all matter at some point, because giving the gun matters.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's weird, crazy, like, super dedication to this job, where he's like, there's a line, we can't, like, you need to toe the line, like, that kind of, like, intensity needs to be seen, because they need to be like, yo, he crazy.
Yeah, because he's like, killing Americans in America just turns my stomach. Just the thought of it. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. But it turns my stomach.
But he's not happy about it. But he's just like, but we're gonna.
And I'm so curious to like the book and just to see how it compares. I'm not reading this book.
I'm not reading this book either.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If anybody has read this book, please tell us how close the movie is to the book. And then we can discuss that.
Because a lot of the times it's like, oh, the book and they're nothing alike. I have a feeling this one's pretty close.
Probably.
The two lead an airstrike into a large forest clearing where the alien spaceship has crash landed. The aliens use telepathy.
It sounded right for a hot second, and then I was like, no, I think that's wrong.
To ask for mercy, but the helicopters massacre most of the aliens with miniguns and missiles. The alien ship self-destructs, destroying the remaining aliens and the two helicopters. Now, if you're listening, that sounds great. Like saying the army massacre a bunch of aliens. It was not. I didn't like this scene.
Well, because the aliens didn't really fight back.
No.
So it felt like a massacre.
Yeah.
And then you end up feeling kind of bad for the aliens, but you're like, but one of them is totally like possessing Jonesy right now.
Yeah. Like
they're not good. So it was a very
like weird. I don't know if they wanted us to care because they were asking for mercy I'm like, they lay butt weasels in people and the butt weasels go at the butt.
It was a very confusing scene. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to achieve from this, because basically they just crawl up into their spaceship, like lock themselves in and then blow themselves up.
Yeah. I just kept thinking like maybe this should have been like a limited series or a 2 or 3 part TV movie.
This would have been fine as a limited series. Trying to shove all of this into a 2-hour movie, I think that's where they went horribly wrong.
Yeah. Jonesy retraces his memories of the area while watching Mr. Gray use his body. Yes, Jonesy sees everything that is going on from the window of his memory warehouse, where Mr. Gray is creeping around as well.
Also, side note, the memory warehouse, I want to live in it. I love that. It was very steampunk. It was filled with files and books and stuff. And I was just like, feels so great.
And he has that special room with the special memories and especially the memories of Duddits, because Mr. Gray wants to know how he knows what his name is. Where did he get those special powers?
But it's funny because the Duddits memories were just in the regular warehouse part.
He had to go
and he had to sneak them past Mr. Gray into his office where Mr. Gray cannot get in.
And if you are listening to this or watching, it is playing out on my TV, as stupid as it sounds.
See, it didn't feel exceptionally stupid, but that's also because I have likened my mind to a Victorian house, a Victorian mansion. So when I'm talking to my therapist about it, I'm like, yeah, like the different parts of my personality live in different rooms. It all makes sense to me. So when I see this memory warehouse, I'm like, I got you. I see this. This makes sense.
Yeah.
See, you just need more therapy.
And probably. And before, also, we do see where they meet Duddits. Where Duddits is being picked on. Again, that was very over that was over the top. I mean,
it was a little traumatizing for me to watch, because I was like,
they're trying to make him eat poop.
They're trying to make him eat poop after they have undressed him.
Yeah.
The kid's sitting in his tidy whities. Like, I'm like, and they're just like, no, he wants to eat poop. I'm like, you guys are fucking batshit. And Beaver was the only one who like picked up rocks and he was like, we're going to kick your asses.
It had a lot of the book and movie similarities, nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
Not even close, but a lot of similarities. Mr. Gray tries to coerce Pete into cooperating, but eats him when he refuses. Actually, Pete just said, fuck you. And then Mr. Gray eats him.
Pretty much. Yeah. Because Pete was kind of helping.
Yeah. He told him where the interstate was.
Yeah. And then Jonesy was like, no, because he asked about, I think Mr. Gray asks about Duddits. And but he asked in the Jonesy voice, not the creepy British Mr. Gray voice.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Damian Lewis, for New Nightmares. Because there's something exceptionally uncomfortable about that voice. And then Jonesy's like, no, don't say anything. And then that's when Pete says, fuck you. And he gets eaten. Jonesy
realizes that Mr. Gray possessed him, not by chance, but to access memories of Duddits, which he needs. They don't really explain why he needs Duddits.
Or how he even knew about Duddits.
Exactly, yeah.
It's funny because in the beginning of the alien part of this movie, Mr. Gray seems to not know about Duddits.
Right.
And then by the end of it, he knows about Duddits. And then it seems like Jonesy was picked on purpose. But then you're like, if he didn't know about Duddits when he first saw Jonesy, why would it be on purpose? Like, why would he have purposely chosen him?
Yeah.
So there's a logic flaw there.
Yeah.
But there are many logic flaws in this movie.
At first, I'm like, oh, maybe because they kind of said that maybe it's because he died, he was immune, and that was why he could possess him. But Colonel Curtis also said they've always been afraid of them mimicking a human and hitchhiking out of a quarantine zone. Yeah, so it is, yeah. Henry arrives at the fenced-in quarantine camp only to realize that Colonel Curtis plans to kill all of those quarantined. Henry convinces Underhill to prevent this by going over Curtis's head and having him relieved.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, and also had Morgan Freeman?
Yes, and he wasn't crazy in that one.
No, that was a good quarantine movie.
That was a great one.
And I actually wish I was watching that movie instead of this dumpster fire.
We all do. Although, if you're looking for another really good kind of quarantine movie, but not the crazies.
Actually, I have a note down there with Timothy Olyphant. Yeah, that movie is great quarantine movie.
So fucking good. So if you want to know what it's really like when people get like kind of possessed, but not really possessed, but kind of possessed, and they go nuts, that's the movie to watch.
That's a good one.
Although I realized that was a remake because I ended up going to watch it.
70s, yeah.
Prime one day, and I was like, why is this taking place in the 70s? I don't understand.
Where's Timmy Olyphant?
I was like, wait, The Crazies was a remake? What? It was so good. Now I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Actually, that'd be a good double one. The Crazies.
Oh yeah.
Henry and Underhill break out of the camp and head to Duddits' home. Duddits, who's dying of leukemia, which Henry just found at that moment. And let me tell you, from the looks of it, old Duddits there, he had it for a while.
Well,
Not
remember,
the best of friends.
Well, remember, it was 6 months ago where they were like, I've been thinking about Duddits a lot. We should go see Duddits. Yes. So, like, they had a feeling something was going on. It's just,
Yeah.
Jonesy got hit by a car and almost broke it in half. So
Duddits informs them that Mr. Gray is headed for the Quabbin Reservoir. Quabbin.
How is it spelled?
Quabbin. Quibbin?
Yeah, Quabbin.
To seed the water with alien larvae. Curtis, realizing the danger looming to the entire planet, leaves the camp in his armed helicopter and tracks down Henry, Underhill, and Duddits. So General Matthews arrives. Underhill called General Matthews to come in because General Matthews doesn't believe everyone becomes possessed, that some of them get better. Arrests all of Morgan Freeman's men.
Yes.
Then goes to Colonel Curtis's trailer. Morgan Freeman is like, yeah, I'm batshit crazy. I wouldn't trust me either. You really shouldn't trust me. Give me an hour and it's the trailer's yours. And the general's like, okay.
Well, because the general walks in and he's literally like, we're still like getting electronics working in this thing. Because he has that one tracker guy.
Yeah.
Sitting in there
looking for his John Wayne gun.
Yeah. Because apparently it has a tracker in it. So he was like, yeah. And they were like, well, we're still getting like electronic readings out of this trailer. He's like, oh, I was just talking to my wife on the sat phone. Should be done in about an hour. And Matheson's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Peace out. We'll see you later. No going to look. No going to verify. You've just been told this man is crazy and was going to kill a bunch of people. But sure. If you want to talk to your wife on a sat phone,
an hour.
Go ahead. Yeah, I believe you.
Attacking them at the reservoir, Underhill is mortally wounded and dies shortly after he shoots Curtis down, and Curtis dies. By this time, I'm looking at the TV and I'm like, why are you shooting each other? You both want to stop the alien. That's why you both came here. Why are you fighting each other?
Curtis went there not to stop the alien, to stop, what's his name?
Underhill. But all Underhill would have to be like, or point and
yeah, but Curtis wasn't there. He was there to stop Underhill.
Yeah.
So that
but why was
apparently
he
blow
there
up
to
everybody.
stop Underhill? Underhill was there to stop the alien.
Underhill was there to get Henry to do whatever, like take Henry out so that they could stop the alien.
I understand that part.
Yeah.
But Curtis even said that we're afraid of them getting to a reservoir. Like a water reservoir. He said that. And there they are at a water reservoir. But he's still like, I'm going to kill you, son of a bitch. I'm like, you guys are on the same. They're both want the
fucking. Curtis is crazy.
Yeah.
We remember Henry says, because you realize he's insane. I've been in his mind. He's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And Underhill's like, valid. We should stop that.
In the reservoir's pump house, Henry manages to stop Mr. Gray's plan, but struggles to bring himself to kill Jonesy. Unable to tell if he is possessed. Unknown to him, an alien larva hatches and begins crawling toward the water. Yes, because he killed the state trooper. He killed the army guy, took his truck, killed the state trooper and the dog impregnate, and it was going to shoot out of the dog's ass. And
it did shoot out of the dog's ass.
Yeah, I guess it did. Yeah.
Yeah, in the reservoir building. And then they killed the buttworm with the gun. Henry did that. God bless. And then because it literally got the buttworm got blown wide open, one little egg rolled out. Because apparently that survived the bullet.
Yeah.
And then it hatched. And then you had the little buttworm running around.
Crawling towards the water. Duddits confronts Mr. Gray, who finally exits Jonesy's body. The two struggle as Duddits reveals himself to be an alien of a different race.
Yep.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Duddits, the handicapped kid, was a powerful alien.
Yeah.
Why didn't fucking Duddits kick those kids' asses when they tried to make him eat poo?
We don't know.
And why would an alien take the form of a person no one can understand? How did his mom not know? How did an alien get leukemia?
We don't know.
Why is this all-knowing, powerful alien so into fucking Scooby-Doo?
This movie does not give information.
Like, were they on the mothership where his superior's like, you have to hide among them? And he's like, yeah, I'll be that one. And they're like, that kid's handicapped. And he's like, I know. The one who can't talk.
What better way to stay hidden? What better way to stay hidden?
That is true. That's true.
And if he's kind of psychic and he knows when bad shit's going to happen, he's probably like, no, I know these kids are going to come along and save me from these dickwads who are trying to feed me poop.
Yeah.
But it's still, so much of this movie defies logic.
Yeah.
That if you try to find the logic, you're going to hurt yourself.
Both aliens explode in a cloud of red dust, which briefly resembles a Dreamcatcher. Jonesy, now himself again, steps on the final alien larva before it can contaminate the reservoir. And Jesus Christ, that's the end of our movie.
Yes.
Fuck. Oh, so what's your score?
I would say stream it. Don't pay for this movie. It's just going to make you mad. However, if you go into it thinking, okay, this is just a sci-fi movie made by the Lifetime Network, and it's random and it's weird and it's gross and it takes left turns all over the place. If you're just in it for like a mindless ride, it's relatively entertaining. I also think it's really funny to watch Morgan Freeman kind of lose his mind and play a stereotypical, like, I've jumped off the deep end military man. I find that entertaining. But also, it's a really great cast. Damian Lewis still looks exactly the same now as he did then, which is weird, but nice. Timothy Olyphant, Jason Lee, Thomas Jane. Like, if you enjoy kind of weird kills, this is a fun little movie to take you through. I don't think it's good by any means. Let's be clear. I also, now that you mentioned that this was after Stephen King's accident and that he was very high when he wrote the book, that makes a lot of sense.
Sure, yeah, it does.
It really, really does. But I mean, it didn't feel like it dragged for me. So I'd say stream it, but don't spend money on this. You're going to be mad at yourself. But yeah, that's it.
Stream it. Okay. My score. First, I love all those actors. So good. The director, Lawrence Kasdan, still a great director. Still wrote some of my favorite movies of all time. Stephen King, still one of my favorite authors. But I hated this movie. Hated this movie. It was so stupid. I went back and looked at some of our more hated movies. Like our skip it's, like Steel Dawn, Leprechaun, Halloween H2O, Idle Hands, Graveyard Shift. None of them had the budget and talent behind them like this movie. Dreamcatcher has some great actors, great director, and it's based on a book by a great author. I don't know what went wrong. Was it the book, the translation? Whatever it was, it created this movie. It makes, to me, little sense. The dialogue is wooden and sounds out of place. It looks good, like the forest and the snow and the animals running away. But the infection and quarantine was kind of lackluster. I mean, the ass-exploding bum monsters, that was gross. That was cool. But did they need to be incubated in humans? Yeah, like, and it kind of makes sense what you say. They come out of the eggs and then they go in the human, get bigger. But even the full-on assault of the aliens, like, why weren't they all trying to get to the water reservoir? If that was their intention, there were hundreds of them. Hedge your bets, increase your odds. They all just seem to be hanging out in the forest. I don't know why. I'm actually going to buy a Dreamcatcher in the hopes that it keeps this movie from ever appearing on my TV screen again. This movie is terrible. Start to shitty finish. It's so bad. Skip it. 1 out of 5. Whatever. I fucking hate this movie. I'm so glad I didn't buy it because it was only a couple more dollars. And if I would have bought this, I'd be so mad.
Well, it was funny because when I was looking at it and I was like, do I buy it? But then I reminded myself of Whiteout and I was like,
yeah.
So like, it's funny though, because I can clearly say that this movie is not a good movie.
Yeah.
It is not exceptionally well written. It is fluffy and it kind of defies logic. But if you like Lifetime movies or those TV movies about like random murders or the neighbors who stalk their other neighbors, or, you know, this is the kind of movie for you because it's random. It makes no sense. But I think they could have cut out a lot of it and, you know, still told a cohesive story. This one is not a cohesive story. It's barely coherent. Like, there's some of it where you're just like, did they talk about this? Do we know why they're doing this? I
was wondering, like, if at some point, if Thomas Jane or Timothy Olyphant were like, I don't think this is going to be very good. I kept thinking of Jason Lee as Earl. He probably still thinks it's good. But yeah, I won't watch this again. No.
Yeah.
So we have a stream it if it pops up on a streaming service from Anna and skip it from me.
Correct.
All right. So, okay. So remember, you can follow us on Facebook at I Remember Liking That Movie Podcast. You can go to X and follow us at Good Bad. I don't know. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
this movie took a lot out of me. There was a lot of like, what? We're doing that now? That's weird. So, I mean, I'm a little spent. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the other movies were that we passed up. I can't remember.
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure that one out. But yeah. Okay, well, we just hope you didn't go watch it. Well, Anna would mind you to go stream it. Again, a warning.
Yeah. Warning, yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you to skip it. Yeah. All right. And with that, until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,